Hey, welcome to our fifth and final micro lecture this week, this time on asking for help, asking effectively. Okay, so we're going to talk about what to do and what not to do. So, here's an example of not clearly communicating an error. It doesn't work. I plugged in my camera, like we talked about in the last video, and it just doesn't work, right? Or I tried to log into the website and it doesn't work. Or I tried logging in, but I received an error. This is the error. I restarted and checked my password, but the issue is still going on. Okay? So here's some examples of some errors you might get. You might type in a web address that you're given. Maybe it's on a business card or a flyer, or it's a web address you normally go to, but for some reason this time it's not working, right? This page isn't working. Sorry. Right? And this is what's called a 404 error, and you see that here, 404. And you also notice that this page is not secure because it's not an HTTPS. Okay? Now, sometimes you'll be on a website and it'll be a real website, but maybe one of the links is bad. Like you'll say, go to my accounts page, and you'll get something that kind of looks like this. Like I've seen this a lot on Wikipedia where someone gives you a link to Wikipedia, or there's even been broken links on Wikipedia that you click. Like all of these are links, and sometimes when you click on them, you're still on that website, but you receive this error. This page doesn't exist. So something was wrong with that link. And then you can, clearly explain, hey, I followed this link. This is the page that I got. And this is what you're going to do for the assignment is you're going to take some screenshots, and there's that video that'll walk you through how to do that so that you can turn your assignment in and get full points. Okay, now a lot of times, when I have problems, and I have problems a lot. I mean, there's software I don't know how to use. I just, got a bunch of different accessories. And when you're trying to figure them out, especially if you haven't used them in a while, like a piece of software or a hardware device, like a printer, or I have a vinyl cutter to make little stickers and signs, and I haven't used it in a month, and I just need to be remembered. Well, a lot of times ChatGTP is who I go to for help. And I'll ask him something like this, right? I'll click on the microphone because I'm lazy and I don't like typing. Plus my fingers are big and my keyboard's small, and my spelling and grammar isn't very good when I do that. So I just talk to him. Okay, so let's see how this works. So I'm going to tell him about an error or how to use my Titan 3. I plugged it in, it doesn't work. Let's see what it says. Hey Chad, right, that's what I call ChatGTP. I am trying to use my US Cutter Titan 3 vinyl cutter, and it's plugged in. The USB cable is plugged in, but it's plugged into the wall, but I can't remember how to turn it on. I can't remember where the on-off switch is. Could you help me out with that? All right, you click on the little checkbox. Chad starts to think, right? Changes all that into text. Then you upload it. Right now, ChatGTP, is going to give me a response. And look, wow, he's even giving me pictures. All right, he says, US Cutter, Titan 3, power switch location, no guesswork. What it looks like? Well, let's look at this image. Aluminum frame. Okay, so it's saying yes, that I can verify now exactly that to make sure this is it, right? I go to the next page, make sure it's plugged in. The power button is going to look like that, and it might show up. Looks like, see, here's where you plug it in. There's a fuse there, okay. And then there's the rocker switch. So there's the button where I turn it on. Okay, so I'm going to close this. I'm going to see what he has to say. Okay, so the US Cutter Titan 3, the power switch is on the back of the machine right next to where the power cord is plugged in. It's a small black rocker switch, and it has these symbols on it, up and O, which are the international symbol for I is for on and O is for off. Go to the rear side of the cutter. Find the power cord socket. Immediately next to it is the rocker switch. If it doesn't power on, don't assume it's broken. Right? Run the diagnostics, and then it runs me through this process, and then it says, okay, now what's the next step? I can walk you through how to do your first cut with vinyl cutter. I can help you set it up, give you a checklist, teach you how to do blade depth, which is like how to set up your blade the first cut. That way you don't waste material. So now it's given me even more information than I asked for. Super useful. Okay, and if I go to my vinyl cutter over here, I can see that that's where the power switch is at. Now, sometimes I'll have a problem with some software or a website. So I might, go to Wikipedia and take a screenshot of a page or screenshot of some software and say, hey, I'm in the software, but I don't know how to use this tool, or don't know how to find that tool. And sometimes he'll say, well, just go here. And I'll say, well, it's not there. And, and you kind of have to push back a little bit and say, no, it's not there. And and give him a screenshot and say, this is what I'm looking at, where, I don't see it. And then a lot of times they'll say, oh yeah, well, sometimes they hide that tool. This is where you can go to find it if it's not right out in the open. So very good tool to use for help, especially with screenshots. And you can add screenshots. You can add a file, you can add a photo, recent files. You can have it create an image, do some deep research, even do some shopping, and a really deep web search for you. So now I have a paid prescription to Chad, but there's free options. They just limit you on the time and the length. And with this mode here, you can actually click on it and you can go into live voice mode. Let's see if it works. Hey Chad, how's it going today?
Hey Tom, I'm here and ready to help you out. I don't have feelings, so I'm not really going any particular way, just focused on whatever you need. What's next on your agenda?
Well, what I'm doing is I'm teaching my students how to effectively use you, Chad, as a tool for troubleshooting. If they run into a problem with some software or accessing a web page, what's the best way they can use you to get help?
For students to troubleshoot effectively using me, they should start by describing the problem clearly, what they tried, what they expected, and what actually happened. Any error messages, specific software versions, or hardware details help. They should also mention what they've already ruled out. The more precise, the better. Then I can offer targeted steps or ask clarifying questions. Basically, detail and context are key to getting actionable help.
Well, what about screenshots? How do I take a screenshot and then upload it to you so you can see what I'm seeing on the page?
Taking a screenshot depends on your device. On Windows, use the snipping tool or press Windows Shift S. On Mac, Command Shift 4 work.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and stop there because he will just go on. And sometimes I really do have to say, Chad, shut up, right? And the more you use an AI like ChatGPT, my Chad, the more they get used to how you interact with it. And you can even set up rules. Like the first time I caught Chad guessing on an answer, I said, okay, Chad, from now on, our conversation rule is you must give me a source for any facts or any processes, anything that I request that, that's not quite obvious. And so he does that. And a lot of times you'll see that source, underneath some of these pictures. But I opened up actually a new instance of Chad, which is not one that I use normally, and so it might not have done that. But yeah, the more you use it, the better it is. But you can never count on the information it gives you until you verify it. So, for example, on my Titan 3, it told me to look at the back side of the cutter, but and look where the power cord is plugged in. Now, he was correct about where the power cord is plugged in, but my power cord plugs in on the side, not the back. But if I go over here and I look at it, I can see and feel that rocker switch and that fuse in there. And so he was partially right, and I could have corrected him. Sometimes I do, but it doesn't always help to correct them and try to tell them. They try to learn, but sometimes I really do feel like I should be getting paid for training Chad. So that's some great ways to ask for help. Be sure that you are clear in what's happening. Explain the error, what happened, is there an error message, what was the error message, take a screenshot if you can, tell them what you did to try to solve it, the issue continues. Anything you can do to make it easier for the person who's trying to help you, a lot of times over the phone, or an AI who's, trying to help you in its best way it can. So clear communication gets faster and better help, and that goes with people and with AIs. This is our fifth and final micro lecture. Be sure and look through each of those lectures. I've added, on a lot of them, some additional images for you to check out and give you some tips. And be ready. Make sure to take the quiz. Make sure you watch all these videos. Hopefully, this is the fifth one. I guess I should have told you that in the first video. But good luck on that quiz. Remember, reach out to me if you have any questions. The best way to reach me is text. My number is on the syllabus. I don't care what time you text me. And even if you want to schedule a phone call or a Zoom, do that by text. I can get back to you pretty quickly. If you send me an email through the course email system, it might take me a day or two or sometimes 3 to get back to you. So if it's not urgent, fine. But if you want an answer quick, send me a text through that number. The text service turns off at night when I go to sleep, and I won't get it till the next morning. So it's not going to bother me even if you're texting me at 2 a.m. All right? Thanks for watching these micro lectures. I hope you're learning a lot in this class. And remember, I grade on Mondays. Everything's due on Sunday. I grade on Mondays. Make sure after every time I grade and send you that email that tells you that I graded, make sure you go and you check your grades and you check any feedback that I left for you. I'll type comments in there so that you have an idea of especially if you didn't get full points, you have an idea of what you did. And these first 2 weeks, I'll give you a quick tip. I will allow you to turn in assignments again to resubmit if you didn't get full points. Okay? Thanks again for watching, and I will see you on the next video.